morning. It's a song I like to sing for you to remind you once again to keep on going. Hey, by the way, this is the Monte Cagle Show. A little morning song for you. Climb that mountain, no matter how steep. Ford that river, no matter how deep. 'Cause Jesus is coming and it won't be long. Preach that gospel, keep singing that song. And the valleys, they are so wide, and the mountains, their valleys are so low. Pressing for the mark of the prize of the high calling of God, yeah. But oh, my weary body ache, broken spirit, heartbreak, something down inside my soul tells me I've got to reach that goal, yeah. Climb that mountain, no matter how steep. Ford that river, no matter how deep. 'Cause Jesus is coming and it won't be long. It won't be long. Preach that gospel, keep singing that song. And the valleys, they are so low, and the people down there, they just don't know. There's a mountain you can climb. They get to. And it looks like we're running out of time. But oh, my weary body ache, broken spirit, heartbreak, something down inside my soul tells me I've got to reach that goal. Yeah, gotta reach it, y'all. Climb that mountain, no matter how steep. Ford that river, no matter how deep. Because Jesus is coming and it won't be long. It won't be long. Preach that gospel, keep singing that song, yeah. Climb that mountain, yeah. Climb that mountain. Hey, welcome all again, all of you once again to the Monte Cagle Show. Hey, I just had a thought this morning. I wanted to sing that little song, and I want to encourage you all, for those of you who know the Lord and those of you who have an idea of what's going on, to keep on going and don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. And for those of you who don't know, well, I'm going to tell you a little something this morning. I thought, a lot of people know about Jesus, or they know the Word, and but they don't know about Bible prophecy, and they don't know why things are happening and why things are all messed up, and why there's such economical chaos, and why things are very confusing. But like I said, I thought I'd tell you a little more about the end time. Jesus really covered a lot of the end time in the book of Matthew, in Matthew 24. It's a very good chapter about the end time. It's very general, but it's very clear about events that should be happening before he would come back. But today I wanted to tell you a little something that I heard when I was a little kid in church. I went to a African American church. It's called the Bethel AME Church years ago as a little kid. And one Sunday, I want to tell you a story. This is the first time I really heard something about the end time and why we're living in the end, because a lot of people don't talk about it. They talk about living the Christian life or being a good person and how to get saved, but they don't. A lot of times they don't. A lot of places they don't discuss in detail about why we live in the time of the end. So I want to give you a little quick little study. It's very simple about why we live in the end. Okay, like I said, look up Matthew 24. That's one of the nicest, clearest chapters about events that would happen before Jesus comes back. But what I wanted to tell you was this little book, a little chapter in the book of Daniel, Daniel chapter 2, was the first time I heard something about the end time, and why it is the end time, and why it couldn't be any other time in history. And I'm going to make it very short. And I want you, in your free time, take out that Bible, and why don't you look up Daniel chapter 2 yourself. You have a little more time to look over it and really study it at home. But anyway, this guy came to our church. The first time I heard about this, he came to our church. I think I was like 13 years old, and I never forgot it, because it was the first time I ever saw a white person in my church. It was one Sunday morning, and he came, and he gave this really cool sermon, and it was about Daniel chapter 2, and he explained all the different angles of this chapter, but it was a very simple and very clear explanation. Now, in Daniel chapter 2, the king, it's set like this. There was a king, and he was the king Nebuchadnezzar, and this was in Babylon. And his name was Nebuchadnezzar, and it went like this. He had this dream. This king one night had this really clear dream, and it was such a troubling dream. It was such an outstanding dream. When he woke up from it, and he was all, like really freaked out about this dream. But the thing was, he didn't remember the dream. All he knew was that the dream was really, heavy and traumatic and troubling to him. But he didn't remember the dream. You wake up from a hot, dream for a time, and you might be all, freaked out. And sometimes you forget what you dreamed, but you just know it was very foreboding and really scary. So anyway, this happened to him. And he was so freaked out. He called all his wise men. He called all his helpers and assistants. And he wanted to know, he was so troubled by it, he wanted to know what it meant. But the thing was, he forgot it. So he was so upset by this dream when he called all his soothsayers and all his diviner, people who were, spiritual, into his courtyard. And he said, look, I had this dream. I'm really freaked out about it, but I don't remember it. So he said, look, I want you guys to tell me what the dream I had, and I want you guys to tell me what the dream meant. Now, all these wise men and soothsayers and all these people of Babylon, these, spiritual leaders or whatever, looked at the guy and he said, look, it's nowhere in the world that we can tell you what you dreamed. If you tell us the dream, then we'll give you the interpretation and tell you what it means. But he said, I don't know what it was. I can't remember the dream. So he got so upset, and he said, look, if you guys don't tell me what this dream means, I'm going to kill all of you. Immediately. He was very upset. And they were freaked out. And he said, look, tell me what the dream means, or I'm killing every wise man and every soothsayer and every astrologer of Babylon. So they were freaked out. So they left the meeting with him, and they were all freaked out. And all the wise men of Babylon, they were all freaked out, And they were all talking about it. And so Daniel, who was a man of God, got wind of it. And they explained, he said, Daniel, haven't you heard the king's all freaked out? And he said, if we don't tell him the dream, he's going to kill us all. So Daniel, I'm just kind of making it short. Daniel said, okay, look, I'm going to ask God about it. So he went back to Daniel, and there was Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, and all those guys were together. And they went and they discussed it, and they talked about it, and they prayed, and they asked God, the God of heaven, to show him the dream and what it meant. And so sure enough, that same night, Daniel, when he prayed to God, the Lord always answers us, people of God, when you pray, He always answers your prayers. But this prayer was very unique because he didn't know what the dream was. So not only did God tell Daniel the dream, what the king dreamt, he also gave him the interpretation was of it. So sure enough, Daniel goes back to the king and said, "Look, O king, don't worry. Look, he said, didn't all your soothsayers and all the people of your wise men tell you what it meant?" He said, "No." And the king said, "No." He said, "But look, the God of heaven, and whom we serve, has revealed to me what your dream is and the interpretation." And wow, the king was like, "What?" And so sure enough, Daniel told him his dream, and he also told him interpretation. I'm just making it a little short for you, just to let you see how cool it is, to let you know why we're in the end, and that the Bible is the true word of God, and whatever it says is what is going to happen. I don't care about the movies, and they always make fun of, oh, the future and the prophecies in a lot of these movies nowadays. But it doesn't matter. It's just the facts. These things are happening. So sure enough, this was the dream, and this was the interpretation. He said, so when you read it, you can go back a little later yourself, look it up yourself, and read it yourself, and take time to digest it. So anyway, this is what happened. The king dreamed this dream one night, and it was this. He saw in the dream a big, huge statue of a man, or a man. And in the dream, he saw that this statue of the man was of gold. His head was of gold. And he saw a statue with arms of silver. And he saw with this statue had a stomach of brass. And his legs, when he went down, was iron. And then he saw further down, all the way down to the floor, and the statue had a feet and 10 toes. And in the toes, toes were made of iron and part of clay, right? And so he said, while he looked at the statue, then he saw a great mountain. And in the mountain, a stone was cut out of this big mountain, and that stone came and bam, and hit the statue and broke it all to pieces. And that stone that hit the mountain, that hit the earth or hit the statue, became a great huge mountain that covered the whole earth, right? So there you go. So he dreamed this dream. And he said, "You, king," he said, "now here's the interpretation." So the king was like, "Wow, you told me my dream. That's what I dreamed. That's what I dreamed." So look, here's the interpretation. He said, "Look, you, king, are this head of gold. And then after you, there's going to come another king that's inferior to yours, that's going to be made out of this silver. And then after you is going to be another kingdom that's going to be made, that's symbolized by brass. And after that kingdom, he said kingdom, he kept using the word kingdom. And after this kingdom, there's going to be another powerful kingdom like iron and strong. And then that kingdom's going to go down to the feet. And at the feet, it's going to be these 10 toes. And these kingdoms are going to be really weak, and they're going to be part of clay and part of iron. And that rock hit the iron is another great kingdom that hit this iron, that hit this statue, and it broke in pieces, and it filled the whole earth. Now, what he was showing Daniel, what the Lord showed Daniel, these metal, or these pieces, and this statue represented kingdoms. Now, okay, there's been a lot of kingdoms, but these were the major world kingdoms. And if you read in there, you'll start seeing how it correlates and how it comes together. So anyway, so he said, now all these kingdoms are going to come, and we know from history. I was so cool when I got to college. I started studying world history, and it was really interesting about the kingdoms and the rulers and the dynasties and everything like that. But anyway, the major world kingdoms I studied was the first major world. One of the major world kingdoms was Babylon. And after Babylon came the next world power was Medo-Persia. Then after Medo-Persia, now it's so cool because like you have two arms. You have the right arm and the left arm. You know, the Persians were stronger than the Medes. The Persians are the same people right now in Iran, and the Medes are in that same Middle Eastern area. Okay, like so cool, you know, like the arm and two arms. One arm is stronger than the other arm. So we know that the Persians were stronger than the Medes. Then after the next world power that we know from history was Greece, and that was the stomach. And it's really cool because the Greeks were known for their food. And you know, it's really true. It's really cool. It was perfect explanation of the world powers. And so after Greece, we know the next world power was Rome, right? The Roman Empire. But get this, like, you know that Rome finally broke up into two major world powers, East Rome and Western Rome. Isn't that cool? That actually happened in history if you go back and study it. And then out of Rome today, you have Europe. If you go all over Europe, it's been really funny. Everywhere I travel in Europe, you see all the ancient artifacts and temples and governmental buildings from Rome all through Europe. It's awesome. This blew my mind. So Rome went right into the last world governments, and we have governments today, the major ones. Some of them are dictatorships, and some of them are, you know, democracies, right? And they really don't go well together. And dictatorships are stronger, and democracies are weaker. So just like the clay is weaker than iron, and it doesn't mix together. Now it's pretty funny. We're pretty way down there, and it looks like that's how the world's pretty much divided nowadays. Now it says, and there's a real cool verse in Daniel. I think it's Daniel 2:27. It says, and in the days of these kings, right? There's going to be these kings, these 10 toes or whatever. Shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, and it shall break in pieces all these kingdoms, and it shall fill the whole earth, and it shall stand forever. So we are in these toes down here, believe it or not, and it looks like that stone, and Jesus is the rock, right, is about ready to come and hit these world power statue and break it up, and God's getting ready to come and set up his kingdom on earth. It's going to be a world kingdom under the rule and reign of Jesus Christ himself. So the reason why, if you're kind of confused and you know, well, why is everything happening? It's all in the Bible. It's all in the book. So I just thought I'd say that little tidbit for you today, and I'd like to encourage you to get into the Bible. Read through the book of Daniel. There's some very interesting prophecies about the end, and it might give you some reassurance in your life that everything's under control, and God's got it all in his hands. He loves us, and even though it looks totally freaked out and everything's all confusing and very disturbing events are happening around us right now, there is a plan and things are worked out. And I'd like to reassure you that that rock is about ready to go bam and hit our world powers and destroy all this mess that we're in right now. It's a real mess. And God's about ready to set up a world power that's going to cover the whole earth, where we'll have peace, we'll have equality, we'll have love, and we'll have real meaning in life very soon. So hold on. It won't be long now. So I want to encourage you guys to keep on going. Don't get discouraged. And keep loving your families and loving all the people that you can in this real perverse time right now and crazy time, because a new world is about to begin under the reign and rule of God himself, and you're going to have true equality, true love, and true peace. It's true. So anyway, I'd like to leave you with this little song. It's hot out here, so I brought my hat. It's hot. So I'd like to sing you a little song. So keep on going, and know that it won't be long now. God's about ready to return and set up His kingdom on earth. He really is. So, hey, don't forget to read those books, the book of Daniel, and read some of the Bible prophecies. They'll encourage you. And don't forget to get my book, Racism and the Cure. There's a cure. It really is. Here's a little song for you. Have a nice day, and lots of love from me to you. Climb that mountain, no matter how steep. Ford that river, no matter how deep. Jesus is coming, it won't be long. Preach that gospel, keep singing that song. Climb that mountain. Climb that mountain.